Hello there, from wherever you are watching us from. It is a great day having you guys join us on this program called The State of the People, a platform where every Ugandan voice is heard on the issues shaping our future. My name is Nathan Yagu. We left home to change home. Salam alaikum to all the Muslim brothers and the sisters outside there. You know, within a few days we shall be celebrating Eid, and I believe you'll definitely be inviting us to join you. In this program, we bring in people who are contesting for different political positions to air out their views so that you who is supposed to vote for them can be able to make a choice either to give the vote or rather not to give the vote. Today we focus on the youth of Eastern Uganda, tackling unemployment, education, mental health, and now more than ever urgent challenge of climate change, which is threatening livelihoods and communities. Our guest tonight is a candidate for Youth MP Eastern Uganda, who is here to share his vision for addressing these challenges and empowering the next generation to build a great future. So we shall be having a few questions that we are going to be addressing to him and definitely getting the right replies for him. So in case it's your first time watching this program, kindly make sure you like, drop down a comment, and don't forget to subscribe on all our different social media platforms. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, please.
Good to have you.
All right.
Yeah, so today we have a few questions that we need to address to you, because the youth who are going to vote for you outside and need to know what ideas you have for them. Some of them may not have heard from you, but through this program, we believe they are going to be getting to know from you. Would you please kindly introduce yourself to the viewers who are watching right now?
Thank you so very much, my viewers out there. My name is Opolot Peter. I am 28 years of age. I come from Tubur sub-county, that is in Soroti district. I've been raised up from Kumi district. Much of my time I've spent it in Kumi district. But of course, provided home is home, definitely I have to get back to my grassroots. Thank you.
All right, kindly, would you tell us what motivated you to run for the Youth MP position in Eastern Uganda?
Yeah, running for politics, for example, is not something that you just wake up and you say I'm running for a position. Running for Youth MP, I started by evaluating the challenges that the youth are going through. For example, here in Soroti city, I sometimes tend to move around even on foot to analyze what are these things that the youth are going through and how best can I come in and change the lifestyle of the youth in Soroti to begin with. Then after beginning with Soroti district, then I start thinking of Eastern Teso region as a sub-region, then Eastern Uganda as a broader, like a broader picture. That's what I can say for such a reason. But if you look at a number of things that youth are going through, so far so good. We have schools. We are having schools. Most of the youth have gone to school. But you realize that after going to school, finishing senior 6, others successfully go even up to university. After university, now this youth comes back home. The parent is looking at him as someone who has saved me. Like the parent is like, I thank God my son has or daughter has finished school. Now he's going to help me, but there are no jobs. So you realize that in a long being of this colleague being at home, he gets depressed. On a depression, the youth has gone into drugs in the names of trying to see a way he can move away from this stress and all this stuff that is disturbing him because of money. So you realize that a youth at a certain age will say, let me first start on Waraji. From Waraji he goes to say, let me buy a small cigarette. Of course, by the time someone came from campus, there was this thing that we are going to be buying beers. So beers failed. He went to Waraji. From Waraji he says, let me buy a cigarette. From a cigarette he goes to weed. And this has brought a number of challenges like mental disorders in most of the youth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you have actually spoken about youth employment, which remains as a serious issue. How do you plan to create sustainable job opportunities for young people
Now,
if you're elected?
Thank you so much. I am not only waiting to be elected so that I am in position to look for a way the youth should have jobs. Personally, with the few links that I currently have, I'm trying to employ youth currently externally. I'm trying to export labor. In that, if for example a youth has papers, has gone to school, say he's a nurse or a medic, in short, we currently have links to export labor to countries like Russia, America, Netherlands, whereby every youth has a capacity to earn something sensible, some good money, say 3 to 4, 5 million. This money is not just common money, and you realize that for you to go abroad, say to Europe, to have work, you pay a certain amount of money, which most of the youth still are not able to pay. But I, with my small knowledge and the connections that I have throughout the country, I've said that no, let these youth with papers come with their documents. The only task they have to do right now is have a passport. When they have a passport, they come and we do the linking. We get you a job. You move abroad there, work hard, save these parents that you're having. Then internally here, locally now, this is now on sensitization. We are working on changing the mindset of the youth out there. A youth should know that after school, it's not only if you get a government job, that's when you are employed. No, there are things that youth can do down there in the village setting. Say you are starting your poultry farm with 1 or 2 chicken, you're starting a piggery. These are things that have money, but most youth have undermined themselves. They in fact don't value what they are capable of doing. So currently we are sensitizing youth that let's have self-employment. Let's create our own jobs. Let's do a little bit of agriculture, improved agriculture. And as well, we are trying to look at how do we raise the prices of these farm products that we get. Because you'll find, for example, a youth cultivates cassava.
Yes.
But right now, a kilo of cassava is just 300 shillings. So by the time you're selling 100 kilograms, you're only getting 30,000. But following the expenses that a youth goes through on daily basis, it's more than 30,000. Mostly there are these youth who have families. You have 2 children, you have school fees, you have this and that. It really doesn't come out. So we are trying to see how best can we work on some farm input. We are trying to look for a way we can lobby for, say, seeds, like maize seeds, like beans, whereby we have a little bit of commercial farming, engaging the youth into farming. That means we are trying to make the youth embrace work. Thank you.
You've actually talked about issues of money and the race linking youth to employment, both local and the international way. Access to finance and capital remains a very big barrier for youth entrepreneurs. What strategies will you champion to improve?
Thank you very much. Now, for the last few years, the youth have been having YLP, Youth Livelihood Programs. These are programs that have been funding the youth. These are projects that gathered youth in a group, whereby in a group of about 12 youth, they were in position to get a seed capital of about 7 million. But you realize that in a certain period of time, around 2022, 2023, these projects were scrapped off. Now, having this means we have to lobby for the youth. We have to lobby from the youth sector, from other government offices, to make sure that this youth gets seed capital, startup capital, That means personally, I'm looking at one, how best can I connect to these big officials to make sure that every youth out there gets something to start with. That is on finance. Because if basically you look at how, for example, PDM, parish development model, in most cases has been given to people who have families. That means there are these youth out there, even who do not have families, but they deserve to get this money because they deserve to live. They deserve to begin a business. But we realize a youth is 28 years, is not married, but since they talk of a family, this youth is still under his parents' roof, like is in the parents' compound, and is not considered as a person eligible to getting this parish model. Personally, I'm looking at youth engagement or participation in everything. That means youth should be considered to at least earn every government program that comes in. A youth should be given a certain percentage, for example 30%. If they are giving 100 million to a certain parish, 30% of this 100 million must be given to the youth, whereby we say if they give Opolot that 1 million, now we are going to look at a way how Opolot is going to develop the 1 million. So Opolot has bought 5 sheep. In a period of about 2 to 3 years, Opolot is having about 10 to 15 sheep, because these animals produce I think every 6 months.
Yes.
Yeah. So my own perspective says youth should be involved in close participation throughout all government programs, and the government should slot to solve the challenges of the youth, to fund youth groups, to fund youth circles. And by the way, for me, when I move around in my campaigns, I make sure that I start up with a circle. For example, if I meet delegates of Soroti district, I make sure that they have started a circle. At least I give them seed capital of about 200 to 300,000. This money is not to bribe them, but this money is for them to start up with, to begin something that will help them as a group. Right now, I'm looking at changing, first of all, the lives of these leaders. This stops or reduces corruption. Because if a leader is sorted, there is no way when something comes from up to this person, there is no way he can deny the lower person to get. That means I'm currently working at fighting corruption at the level of the leaders first. Then after the leaders, we shall have this other community get engaged.
Okay. Our next question. How will you support the development of skills and vocational training to better prepare youth for the job market? Looking at what is happening right now, youth have been at school, but jobs are scarce. Let's look at the vocational training. How will you work on it to better the youth in Eastern Uganda?
Thank you. Now, when we talk about vocational institutions, vocational institutions come with a number of things. There is what we call hands-on. Hands-on is whereby Opolot has a garage and there is a youth out there whom I think or I feel like has the capacity to learn, has the capacity to see that I can do this mechanics business, or I can have this mechanic skill and have a living. What am I trying to say here? To begin with, there is a presidential initiative to skill the youth. Most of the youth are not aware of this. We have one of the hubs here in Arapai, next to the factory. This takes 20 students every district. But this needs a youth to be informed. But what do they do there? They skill the youth, and after skilling them, they are given seed capital to begin. Personally, I am going to lobby to see that youth get government scholarships. This one, government scholarships, whereby a youth is not going to pay even a single coin to make sure that he's in this institution. And when he learns, after learning, for example, catering, when a youth is done learning, he should be provided with the necessary things to begin the catering business out there. But if we look at the 20 students that come from every district, right now I am trying to make connections where necessary to see that this number is raised. 20 students every district is a small number. If you look at 20, for example, Soroti district has 3 counties, 20 students, 6 per county. Now you find the county has about 5 sub-counties. For example, Tuburu sub-county. How best can you give 6 students in these 5 sub-counties? It's really not coming. So we are saying that we are trying to see the way we are going to ask the government that let's raise this number to at least 50. At least 50. Whereby if we look at a county, every sub-county brings about 5 or 3 or 4 students. It will these guys will have a way, like their lifestyle will change, and at least in the next intake the same thing will keep on happening. Now, youth who are in town here, most youth are just idle, not because they want to be idle, but because they do not have what to do. We are going to work in hand with the government and the authorities to make sure that these youth are gotten hands-on skills. Let them have the hands-on skills and let them be employed after. And after they are employed, still the seed capital, that means empowering them. We still empower them to have their skills that they learned from school effected, or they practice on it on the field.
Stress and substance abuse affect many youth. What initiatives will you promote to support mental well-being?
Now, the health of Uganda's youth is a national concern. High rates of teenage pregnancies, substance abuse, and mental health challenges, they threaten the future of most of the youth out there. For example, when I talk about drug abuse is one of the challenges that has brought mental disorder and stress. In fact, it is the stress that causes them to go into drug abuse later on, which turns into a mental disorder. Like earlier on, when I told you that most of the youth after finishing school, they lack jobs, they get depressed. On the depression, they get subject to alcohol. From alcohol, they move on to the level of taking marijuana, which spoils their mental reasoning. This brings a person to a state of being a psycho, like someone, a psychiatric case. This is something that is becoming frequent. When I was growing up, those days, we could hear that so and so's son takes weed. It was something so surprising. It was something that was hitting a lot. But now you realize where things have reached these days. If they say so and so is taking weed, they are saying let him cool down his stress. That is what is happening right now. But to me, we are going to work in hand with government to make sure that these youth are rehabilitated in rightful areas. Let them get serious, in fact, let them get educated on how stress disorders can be managed. These are things that can be done by a number of teams, medics, other hospitals. Let the community be sensitized on the effects of drug abuse and effects of all these challenges that are affecting the youth. Yeah.
Okay, as we come towards the end of this interview, I want to appreciate every single person who has been following us from the time we started this interview up to, of course, this moment where we're almost ending it. You're watching The State of the People, a program where we bring in leaders to come and talk to you and account. Of course, give their views to you before you go and vote for them. Gender equality remains a challenge. How will you promote the inclusion and the empowerment of young women and girls?
Thank you very much. You see, gender equality has been a challenge. One of my colleagues one time said that if surely you want to have gender equality, can you collect for me 10 women and we go and offload cement? It was something so weird. But currently, gender equality hasn't been something that has been implemented. For example, Soroti District Youth League District Committee. The district committee has only men in the youth league. That means there was no woman represented in this. So what am I trying to say here? I am going to advocate for gender equality, whereby every youth, every person, every gender participates. And for example, the current the National Youth Council elections that is ongoing is the reason as why we are having Secretary Female Affairs, because you realize most of these positions had been aggressively taken by the men. But personally, I make sure that I have always wanted to make sure that girls are included into this thing. Girls have a part to play, and always in most of these positions, when given to a lady, there is a little, should I say, a higher level of trust that is shown by the female or the females when they are given a position. By the way, it's one of the reasons we are having the speaker as a female, and also the vice president female, and also the prime minister being a female.
Yes.
Because these people exhibit a higher level of trust. That means ladies should be considered mostly in this. So personally, I am going to make sure that youth get involved into the politics or into every participation that is ongoing in the community. And females should also be considered. At least 30% of every committee should be a female. Yes.
All right, following what we have discussed, I believe you have your manifesto. What are the 3 key things that you're looking at?
The 3 key things, definitely, first of all, is we have to work on the unemployment. This has become a challenge in Uganda. So we have to bridge a gap in unemployment. Secondly, education. Most of people may not manage to afford education. For example, if I give you my lifestyle, by the I'm this one man who studied A level for 3 years. Senior 5, I was in St. Louis. That was in 2014. 2015, I did not have money. That means there was a challenge in academics. There was no proper funding for a person like me. Then I had to wait until 2016 when Muse got some small money. So I had to finish my school in Jeresa High School. You get the point? Then by the grace of God, my further studies all happened by the grace of God. Reason being, the way money used to come in, most times you had to hustle out and still come back to school. That means I'm looking at creating loan schemes to support the education of these higher level students and even those at lower level. Then finally we are looking at agriculture and marketing. Most of this youth should have better agriculture output in form of commercial farming. This means they are supposed to be, I should say, empowered. Empowering them means they're in position to have a larger productivity, and I'm very sure with the time they're in position to raise funds to make a middle status income in a certain period of time. At least when we look at these 3, others will come in, like a money economy, of which a money economy still goes back to embracing work, and that is bridging a gap in unemployment.
Okay, your last words to those who have you.
My last words are, next week we are picking nomination forms. Let's vote wisely. Every youth is important, though not every youth votes for me. I'm encouraging every youth out there, let us participate fully in every government program that you see. And finally, come 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th of August, let's vote for Opolot Peter. Your vote counts. You are a youth with initiative. I clearly tell you this because I trust the process, and I know I will make it to Parliament. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. That has been Mr. Opolot, one of the candidates who is contesting to be elected as a youth MP in Eastern Uganda. And I believe you've heard from him, so it is time for you to make your own choice. My name is Nathan Eyago, and you've been watching The State of the People, a program where we bring our leaders to speak to us and be accountable to us. I want to appreciate my guy who is behind the camera, Nova Promotions. Make sure you follow him on all different platforms where he is, and make sure you subscribe and follow us too wherever you see this video from. We left home to change home.